Hello everybody, how are you all doing? Get your Ducati head on because I've got something to show you, my Ducati 916 project. Let's take a look. Alright, are you ready to see this beautiful legendary machine? Are you ready? Yep, it's not that beautiful as it's supposed to be, so this bike has definitely seen better days, like when it left the factory, of course. It looks a right mess, so I got this bike in, was it December again? I think it was December again. So I got this bike right around at the same time I got the RS125. And I did mention to you on the SP build video that I've got a project in the back room, a really big one, and this is the really big project. A really big project. So, where shall we start then? Okay. 916. Okay, so this bike currently does run, believe it or not. When I get closer to it, I'll show you a close-up behind the fairing and everything. You probably will split a log when you see it. It's in a really, really poor condition. Probably the most poorest Ducati 916 I've ever seen. But the bike currently, it does run. I've not got a battery on it. It's got old fuel in it. I'm not going to try and start it. But when I purchased this bike, I didn't go to view it. I actually just messaged the guy who was selling it, and he reassured me that the bike does start and idle. So he showed me on a video that the bike does start and idle. It does sound a little bit rough, which I'm not frightened about. I can work on these, they're not that hard to work on. But it does look like it has spent lots of time with the Titanic and not in some collector's garage or out there on the road getting cherished. But I'm going to sort all that out. This bike is going to look beautiful once again when I finish with it. It may not be sometime this year, it may run into next year. I would really like to get this bike up and running on the road, finished this year. We'll see how many late nights I can stomach. Okay, so let's have a look, see what I've got to deal with. Unfortunately, what I've got to deal with. But I dragged myself into this. So first thing I'm going to point out is the paint job. The paint job is terrible. It's the worst I've ever seen. I think someone may have done this with a rattle can. The black fairing panel there is a mismatched colour to the rest of the bike. It is a totally wrong colour anyway. There's no point criticising the colour match, but it's some kind of metallic, purpley, flaky blue colour. Looks like outer space. It looks like something you'd find in a 1980s or 70s children's ride at the coast, at the seaside, next to a fish and chip shop, something like that. Or something resembling Prince's clothing. When you run your hand over it, it's very rough. It's rough and scaly, like someone's thrown grit at this damn thing when they've finished. The rear part is no exception either. Look at that. You can see how rough that paint is. So this means I've got a massive job getting all this off. I do have a spare seat unit in red, which was from my 748, but I don't really want to... It's nostalgia is that. I don't want to destroy it. So the exhaust, thankfully, we've got Termignoni. Is that how you pronounce it? Termignoni. You can see where the sticker was there. These look like 45 mils. They may be 50 mil, but look like 45 to me. I'm glad it's got those on. It saved me a lot of money, and I think the Ducatis, all the Ducatis look better with Termignonis. It kind of matches it. So they're not in bad shape. These will clean up, and that carbon will polish a little bit and get a new sticker on that. Rear hugger. I'm gonna probably scrap this. It's not worth saving. I could perhaps repair that with carbon fibre. I've got some. I've done it before. You've seen me do that. I may attempt to repair it, but it looks very, very flimsy. We'll give it a go, give it a shot, see how I can make it turn out. The only problem with this is that if I put carbon fibre over there, it's exposed and you'll see the repair, so I might have to then paint it or do something with it. I might put a Ducati sign down there, something, just cover it over. We'll take a look at that. The wheels, love these wheels. These look best on the 916. They're not in bad shape. They will be repainted. I need to replicate this colour. I don't think it's a gold. I think when I did research this colour, was it a bronze or was it some type of yellow it was called? I do have it somewhere. I will find it again. But I will match this colour. I'm going to probably paint these wheels along with the frame. The frame is not in terrible condition with regards paintwork, but it has got a nasty, horrible scuff mark up there. Looks like someone's tried to cover that up. Obviously failed. That means that this bike has most likely been down the road. It's the only reason that would happen. So we might have some fairing damage under here. I have had the fairing off and I've looked on the other side. Doesn't appear to be any damage on the other side, so it's probably a light smash. I don't know. Something's hit that. I'm guessing that the angle bar snapped and gone into there. These are very, very delicate when you go down. I know because I've crashed a Ducati before, a 748. I had it for about 3 weeks, boom, straight on the road. So other thing to point out here, another pointer is that this has been down the road. You can see that there, it's not worn down here. So this may have been a result of the crash that someone's had, or it may have just fallen on its side, something like that. And that could have damaged it. To be honest with you, this bike may not have been down on the road. It may have just fallen on its side. I know these handlebars will break because my wife dropped one also. That sounded wrong. Dropped one. Not a fart, a bike. She had a 748 and she actually got it out of the van, dropped it on the floor. It broke the handlebar straight off. So that could have done that. I'm just guessing that may have been the case because this is not scuffed. And the foot peg doesn't appear to be scuffed either, so it may have just been falling on the floor. That's what's caused these problems. So I've started sanding this down here. I've just given it a quick sand to see what I'm dealing with, how long it will take me to flatten this surface off. Ideally, I want to get all this paint off. Usually, you can flatten the surface and paint over it, but I do want to get as much of this off as possible. It seems to have come off this fairing quite quickly with 400 grit. But there it took a little bit more time. The headlight is not cracked. These are very expensive. It looks in immaculate condition, that headlight. There's not even any green residue in there or all that electroplating going gammy because of cold, damp conditions. It's got carbon front mudguard. We will restore this, and it doesn't look to be pitted, so it's not going to be so much of a heartache. The front wheel, obviously, that will be painted up as well. The disc will sort those out. These feel like there's a lot of meat on them. I don't really think they need replacing, but there may be warps, we don't know. It's got a carbon fibre VP, so I'll keep that on it. I won't mind getting an original one. The radiator is in good condition under there. That will clean up, but these perforations in here, these vents, they're not chipped or damaged or smashed in. It's really hard to try and put together a picture of what's happened to this bike because there's parts of it which are in great condition and there's lots of parts of it which are not. It looks like it's not had a hard life, but obviously someone's gone down, either crashed it or dropped it, broken things, and decided to go over it with some rattle cans whilst having a few beers outside in the blistering cold. But like I said, the radiator's in good condition and the foot pegs aren't grinded off, so it doesn't look like this bike has done a great deal of track use. It may not have had any track use. It's not really looks like it's had a lot of road use either, but it's so strange to see it in such terrible condition. So we'll move around now and have a look at the controls and stuff like that. So, other thing that made me happy was to see that this is not damaged or scuffed, and these fork caps here, they're in really good condition. I just want to clean up them. I hate it when you get fork caps that have got spanner marks around here where someone's bodged and butchered them. I bet you any money that these forks have never had a seal replacement or oil change. The damper's not in bad condition either. None of that is worn away. It's still looking quite good. I don't know what this is. I'll just move these heavy angle bars to the side there. I don't know what this is. It's got some kind of lights there. Is that a gear indicator? I've never ever seen something like this before on a 916. I'm going to take it off, have a look behind it. Is it some kind of rare part? Is it something special? I think it might be, looking at it here, it might be some kind of rev count or something. I don't know. It looks like we've got LED lights here. Let's have a look at the side. This is the mysterious light thing. Looks like a wire goes behind there. There's some kind of module under here. We'll investigate that later when I start to strip it, but I don't know what that is at all. You tell me what that is if you've seen one of those before. But there's nothing down here resembling a gear position indicator, nothing like that. It's definitely not some quick shifter thing, but we'll find out what that is when I get that front end off. But let's take a closer look at this engine while we're down here. It wants repainting, that wants cleaning up, but the engine casings definitely want repainting. I have seen worse, I've seen some of these that are actually on the road and they look cosmetically sound, but the engine casing's all flaked up. I don't think that's had the paint removed. It may have had the paint removed, that's why it's not flaking up. I'm going to repaint that. Also repaint this. Look, ah, right, so I can see some brush marks now. So someone's got on here with a brush, a paint brush, and coated that with hammerite or something. That's why it looks like that. The rear shock as well, I will probably hope, well, I hope that's not leaking, but I can see some little bit of pitting down there. So I want to get rid of that as well. It says Ollins on it. I'm pretty sure that is not an Ollins rear shock. It looks like a Showa one. I can't remember now what it looked like, but don't think that's an Ollins shock at all. If you've got a 916, you tell me if that's a Showa shock. I can't remember. The chain looks well oiled. It looks like it's oiled with water and rust or something, but this looks to me like it's quite sticky actually, so someone's made the effort to oil that chain. It's quite sticky. Well, look at that, at least someone's made an effort with this bike. They've got some telephone wire or something and to make sure that these wheel nuts, these sprocket carrier nuts don't pop off. Yeah, well, fair play to the owner for taking care of this bike, making sure it's safe to ride. Side stand, that is having this automatic flick up thing removed straight away. They are dangerous. I do not like those at all. Okay, let's get this fairing off and we'll have a look underneath there what more horrors I've got to deal with. I'm pointing out this radiator again. That's another clue that the bike has fallen on its side. There's no damage on that under there. There's no crash or scrape damage. It's just crushed, so that says to me that this bike has fallen over. It's not being crashed down the road, which is a good thing. We know that nothing's probably bent as yet anyway. So the battery has been removed. The battery when I got it was very old. It looked like an original acid battery was in there, weighed a ton, hardly any fluid on it. It wouldn't charge up at all, so I weren't going to mess with that. The electrics are all corroded. These will be replaced. All this is going to get upgraded by myself. Starter solenoid or stuff like that. The regulator looks like it's a single phase regulator on there, so it's a 2-wire. The better ones are the 3-phase ones, which you'll have to probably change the stator. I will be doing that. Maybe I'll get rid of this because they don't really work as well as the 3-phase ones. There's no damage down here on the engine casing. Carbon cover, I like that. That's pretty cool. The engine's not oily, nothing leaking down there. Looks pretty good. There's a few old things I'm going to change on this. There's no leaking. Usually you get some leaking from the crank breather here as well. These have to be changed out sometimes. You might see oil around here. If you see oil around there, it's not a big deal. You just change out this crank breather, it'll be leaking underneath. The fuse box, it all looks clean in there, nothing's corroded. But again, we'll go through all these electrics when we're finished. It's got itself a carbon airbox as well. That's going to get treated to some TLC. We'll get that cleaned up. But overall, I'm quite happy with it. It does look time consuming to me. I have worked on these before. There's nothing that scares me on it. The engines aren't that bad to work on, to be honest with you, if you know what you're doing. But it's an engine at the end of the day, and that's why you got to look at any motorbike or car. It's just an engine. There's no rocket science behind it. So the thing is with these Ducatis, sometimes you do need specific tools to work on things. I have in the past made my own, but nothing concerns me on this. It just looks time consuming. One thing that has bothered me around here, I'll show you. It's the fork stanchion tube. Get you in closer. You can see there, see how pitted that is? You can have these recoated, but I think if I have that recoated, it'll still show through because there's pitting on there, and I don't want that at all. I want this to look pristine, nice and new. I did notice, I took the number plate off, that this is a carbon fibre rear number plate hanger as well. Look at that. So there's a few little cheeky carbon bits on here. Let's have a look under the seat. Alright, so immediately that ECU has been tampered with. You can see the seal's broken there. Most of these are anyway. You never see these either, so most of the time this little rubber snap cap thing is missing and you get bolts through there. That spring thing looks, is that supposed to be like that? I don't believe so. It's got the helmet hanger as well. That's another little rarity. We've got the helmet hanger under there for the lanyard. That should just clip off. I need two hands to do that. We'll leave it where it is. I think rather than sanding this down again, I'm going to go for a single seat unit. I think I left the keys out, haven't I? Yeah. I'm going to go for a single seat unit. I think it'll make it look really good. I'm not going to try sanding that down. There's a lot. I want least sanding work. Well, least sanding work, the better for me, to be honest. The tank as well. I've got a look inside the tank yet. Ooh. You can see the fuel pump. It looks quite dirty. It looks like someone's been painting with all that fuel pump left in. I hope that's not rust down there. More work for me. Can't get the camera to focus right. It looks like we've got some rust down there. Or maybe wrong. Yeah, definitely down there, look. That is awful. So it looks like the work is just piling up and I can feel my bank balance going down already. I'm not even started work on this yet. But it's going to be an adventure and it's well worth it. Secretly, I think everybody wants a 916, don't they? Or at least have a go on one anyway. Whether you're a Ducati lover or a Ducati hater, the 916 is such an iconic bike. It did set a standard when it first came out on the road. I can remember seeing these when I had my NSR 125, thinking one day I'm going to own one of these. And now I do, but it's not in the condition that I will want to own one in, but I will get it to where it needs to be. But sadly for me, none of this will buff out. It is where it is, and it's a big job, a big stripped down job. It's going to take up most of my garage, I believe. I'm going to start doing this the moment I finish that RS 125, or I may start doing it as I do the 125, at least start sanding that bodywork down, because to be honest with you, I hate seeing it like this. This is the only bike that I've purchased and brought back to the garage and not washed it before it comes in here. I've just left it as it is. There's no point washing that. You can't make it look any prettier. But other thing is, I wanted to do this completely standard and no white number boards on it, just completely red with the standard 916 stickers. Get some foot pegs, stuff like that. I won't put the foot pegs on, obviously. Looks a bit more racy like this, doesn't it? But that was the intention, to get this completely standard. But now I don't know whether to do it yellow. I mean, you think of Ducatis, Ferrari, stuff like that, you think red, don't you? But there's not many yellow ones, and I do like the yellow ones, actually. But I'm thinking about resale as well, because I most likely will keep this for, let's say, a year or so. I may keep it forever, because it's hard to get one of these now, especially for a low price. But I may sell it when I've finished with it. It's low mileage. It's a shame it's in this condition, though. But I don't know whether to do it in yellow. I don't know whether to do it a foggy rep. I love the foggy rep, but it is not a foggy replica. It's a standard bike. It's not even an SPS. So I think it would be wrong to really make this look like a foggy replica or a Bayliss, something like that, because Bayliss was on the 996, 998 anyway. So I don't think it's a good idea to put Infrastrada stickers on it, stuff like that. I would do it if I had spare fairings and tank and things for this, but then again, the wheels don't suit either, because you want those Marchesini wheels on there, magnesium ones. Alright, so that brings me to the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you found it informative. And if you've got any spare 916 parts you don't want, let me know and I'll grab them off you. Because I'm going to need a few bits and bobs for this, especially fork stanchion tubes. But I'm not going to put any money down on this yet until I've got the RS 125 completed, because I want to really not just collect bits and put them in boxes. I do lose parts. I found lots of parts up there for bikes that I've done in the past and I couldn't find them, so I want to get all this done in a one really. Get it stripped down, get the bodywork done and painted, and then I'm going to get that engine out, I think, and get this frame stripped down. I will paint the frame, not having it powder coated, because I'm struggling to find someone to replicate that exact colour, and the frames aren't powder coated anyway, they are painted, so it needs to look as it should. Alright, okay, thank you for watching. Hope you found this interesting. Stay tuned, I will be back at this bike. Goodbye. fucking side stand thing on these bikes. Jesus. Let's get you away before you cause us some trouble.